All right, race fans, welcome. We're live here tonight. That's right, Texas Motor Speedway, and everything's big in Texas. We got some big field, big power, and a lot of big fast cars out here tonight as we're doing it here for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series, brought to you by Transervice here in the Cup machines. I call them the monster cars, but hey, they're gonna be bad fast here. Well, I'm Joe White up here in the booth, and I'm accompanied by old Harrison. Harrison, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great tonight. How are you? How about you?
Man, doing awesome. And I tell you, a lot of these guys out here are going to be doing awesome. We're in the middle of qualifying right now. These boys been kind of screaming around this track. I was talking to a few of them there before the race, and some of them was telling me kind of tight going in, loose coming off.
Yeah, you know, Texas is a really difficult mile and a half. I think it's my favorite one in this game, and it's just, you know, people really struggling for grip out here, and I always love watching that.
Absolutely. All right, let's check out the sound level there. Sorry about that, but yeah, I mean, right now we got a big field here. We got about 30-some machines, and that's one of the things that we have seen week in and week out here at Sim500, especially here on the Monday Night Series, presented by Transervice. These guys come out here with these cup machines, and they have put on some racing so far for the first half of the season. And Texas, you know, I got a feeling it's going to be one of these tracks that it can sneak out and bite you, or you can have a good night.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those tracks that it can go either way, because there's a lot of difficulty involved, and sometimes when you have that added difficulty, the drivers get in that mindset where, you know, you're out there racing each other, but they're also racing the track in a very big way and paying very close attention to what they're doing.
And a man on point right now, that would actually be Anthony DeBarro. He's putting it up right now. He's been fast the last couple weeks. Unfortunately, not hadn't been able to seal the deal like he wanted to, but he's definitely been fast. I think he's already got a win though this season. I might have to look back on my my notes and whatnot, back up to speed on all that. But he has definitely been fast week in and week out.
Yeah, if I could recall, he's the winner at Atlanta, which is a pretty similar track to this. And like you said, it seems like every week in qualifying, that 5-car of DeBarro Coors Light machine is up front, battling for these wins, being kind of like a perennial top 3 contender every single week so far. The Boomtown guys have really done a great job adjusting to the Sim500 League. Don't believe they were involved last season, but they came over here, and I mean, they've got their stuff together, and they're seeing success early on.
Absolutely. Another guy that, you know, we always talk about throughout the race here, and that's got to be Malik Ray. He's out here in the field. But there 2 weeks ago, he was off last week, the Easter holiday. Hope everybody had a good one. And but the week prior, you know, he missed that race. But you know, Malik, he's one of those that doesn't look like he's going to try to take a qualifying time, which is kind of unique because with 30-some machines out here, I don't know if that's a good strategy or a bad strategy.
Oh, Malik just fell out of the server, so I wonder if he's just been having connection issues. But like you said, this is a track where I've started in the back a couple of times, and I feel like there's always at least one mid-pack wreck that catches a lot of people, and it's a fairly narrow track. Uh, it's not the easiest thing in the world to avoid wrecks at Texas Motor Speedway because it just seems to coming out of turn 4, coming out of turn 2, it just narrows up. And so it's definitely a vulnerable thing to be coming through this field.
Yeah, and you're right. I definitely, it's one thing I've looked at here is, you know, if these guys are experiencing being tight a little bit, a lot of times they're going to come off that bottom line. Some guys might stay down there on the bottom line. Some will actually utilize the middle and high groove. But I know from where I used to run here, coming out of turn 2, even though they say it might be a little bit loose, sometimes it's got that push loose feeling to it. Actually will run you right up into the wall if you don't watch it coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, it comes fast. I mean, you're coming out of turn 2 and you're just looking at that wall, and sometimes you're just, coming through 1 and 2, you just get that bad push on exit. Other times when, you're losing that grip, you're trying not to turn the wheel too much because it'll make yourself looser, and so you end up kind of driving the car up the track, trying not to spin out, and you end up hitting the wall on exit. So it can really get you every way there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, the 41 there, E.J. O'Rourke, he's out on the track. Anthony Navarro still up top here, commanding this one. Rick McBride there in second. Eric, what is that, Brody's? Did I say that right? Brundy's?
Oh, Eric Brundy's.
Brundy's, okay, Brundy's. Is he a new guy? I haven't seen that name.
Yeah, definitely new, and I've seen him win championships elsewhere. He's an extremely experienced and solid driver. I'm not sure if he's running a Terry Labonte scheme, but he often does, and he's kind of like that Terry Labonte style driver.
Oh, okay, good deal. Well, currently right now in the 3rd place spot, Jose Gonzalez right there sitting in 4th, and around the top 5, Chad Cole. What you know and I know, Chad Cole's been fast, been very consistent. That's the thing, and actually pulled off a win the other week. But he's been very consistent, and consistency has paid off for him, and that's what really wins championships in the long run.
Oh yeah, Chad Cole, it seems like top 5 every single week, and he's always kind of been that top 5 driver, but ever since his qualifying has picked up, he's there from lap 1, and so it's really put him in better position to win these races. And as you said, was able to capture that win at Fontana, I believe it was, if my memory is serving me right.
Auto Club, yep, you're right. 2 weeks ago, that's where we was at. And another one right here having a good qualifying run, Eric Arnold and Jonathan Condell, rounding out the top 10 right there. So, and obviously you was talking about the Boomtown guys. Yeah, they just came on strong here. They got Mitch Rollo right there in the top 10. Obviously Anthony DeBarro. So they're doing what they need. We've got about a minute to go here before we go racing tonight. Texas Motor Speedway. It's going to be a fast one here. 130-something laps tonight. Folks, hang on to it because it's going to be a good one here as we're getting set to green flag these guys.
Yeah, Chad Cole currently running through the drivers meeting right now. Looks like we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 36 cars that are going to start this one. A couple of guys not as fast in qualifying as I expected. Nick Tim slowed down from practice, not the qualifying effort he was looking for, so he's going to have to come from 21st. Nelson Rivera also starting this race in 17th, and I feel like Nelson's qualifying efforts have been really strong, so that's a bit surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost 9 times back there in the 21st spot. You're right. So got a lot of good names back in the back of the field. It's going to be interesting to see if they can travel through the front here. Mike Kelly way back there in the back, just to give an idea. It's going to be interesting. You're going to just have to be, I think patience is going to be another thing because you got so much speed here. And like you said, these cars are, after a while, will become a handful as we're getting set to grid these boys up here, folks, tonight. The Sim500 Monday Night Money Series presented by Transervice here. And the Cup cars, here we go, as we're going to grid them up here. as that man right there, Anthony DeBarro, puts it on pole. Rick McBride on the outside. Third place man starting tonight, Eric Brundys. Fourth place, Jose Gonzalez. Starting fifth, Chad Cole. Sixth place man, Eric Arnold. Starting out in seventh there, Chad Coleman. Eighth place, you got Jonathan Cadell. Ninth place, E.J. O'Rourke. And Mitch Rollo rounds the top 10. And we got 30-some of some bad, fast drivers and some bad, fast cars about to do some bad, fast, awful things at Texas Motor Speedway tonight. And I'm getting pumped up. Hope you are. Harrison, you getting excited?
Oh, I'm definitely getting excited. And one of the things I'm going to be looking for early are these drivers starting in the back. Not only Malik Ray, who is back in the server and is starting 29th in this one, but Stefan Marinak won a few weeks back. He's starting 30th. Scott Simley always is always in the conversation in these races, starts 31st. Mike Kelly, 32nd. If we have some long runs, Mike Kelly's going to be driving through that field. Well, he's going to be driving through the field anyway. But rounding out the field, Brian Wortman. There are 36 cars in this one.
A lot of cars, a lot of power, a lot of guys out here wanting to try to make their name here early on in this season, as we've got several different setups. A lot of people, we haven't really talked much about it, but the setups that we have here is the first 12 races we crown kind of a champion, so to speak. And then after that, we go to segment number 2. So we're actually breaking down this huge long season into segments, heading off into the final segment, which will be the actual, and then you'll have the chase and all, and then we'll crown kind of a grand champion, so to speak.
And I think that's the big prize that everyone has on their mind. They want to be the guy who was the guy for the entire year. It's hard to beat that, but you want to get everything you can. You want to sweep them all.
Oh, absolutely. And right now, it's definitely going to be an interesting. We'll start talking about that. We got about, I'm gonna say, at least a solid 5 more races to go before we get into that. First segment being done with is, well, we're at Texas. Like I say, we've got some big speed here. And these guys are going to hit probably 200 mile an hour or better. So you make a mistake, you're going to pay for it here at this track.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really curious to see how this big field of cars are going to change the racetrack throughout the race. I think there's going to sometimes there's a lot of huge arcs entering the corners here, and then as that groove gets all hot and rubbered up, they start entering lower and lower, and I just think this is going to be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. As pace car's pulling them around here out of turn 4. It's about to let these guys go to work here tonight, 130-some laps. What's going on, John? I want to welcome everybody out there. As pace car's coming out of turn 4, it's going to take that hard left turn off on pit road. Here we go. The man up front, Anthony DeBarro, is going to push down that pedal as hard as he can, and he does. Green flag flies. We're racing to Texas here, big style, as they storm across the line, and you can listen to the thunder of 30-some machines go off into turn 1 as they, Anthony says, see you later, I got to go.
Oh, wow. We almost had a crash there for about 8th. Jonathan Cadell was about to work underneath Eric Arnold, got completely sideways, made a huge save, but he's going backwards, and Chad Coleman got stuck behind him going backwards too. But as DeBarro jumped out to the lead, we almost had a crash in the middle of the pack, but the drivers did a good job to hold on and keep going.
That is Jonathan Cadell right there, currently in a 9th place spot as he moves up, and you got Corbin Hemstreet, one of the Boomtown guys there, along with Sean Bounty. So them boys already rumbling to the front as Anthony DeBarro, he's got this one. You can see these cars getting awful wiggly back in the back as Anthony right now jumps out to about a half-second lead over Rick McBride, and Eric right there sitting in the 3rd place spot. You got Jose Gonzalez. Well, he's in 4. Chad Cole moves it back down in the 5th. And I'll tell you, them Boomtown guys, well, they come to race.
Yeah, they really do. It seems like if they qualify well, they're going to stay there no matter what. If they don't qualify well, they're going to be jumping up into that top 10 really quickly. Corbin Hemstreet already up to 8th from 12th. Rollo qualified 10th, already up to 7th. And, we haven't even started lap 4 yet.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. They're coming out of turn 4 to complete lap 3 here to get us into lap 4. Chad Cole with that Transervice machine out there rumbling pretty good. He's in 5th, but boy, he's got a whole back tailgate full of Eric Arnold right there, seeing if he can't get anything done. And he's trying to run down the man Jose Gonzalez in front of him. As everybody's kind of getting spread out a little bit, as you go through the field, you got to go back here to Thomas George, Sean Bounty, and it looks like Doug Roth back there. They're kind of battling out a little bit.
Yeah, side by side back there in the top 15. Doug Roth qualified qualified 18th, moving forward so far in this one in that 43. And I tell you, maybe he's trying to kind of mimic what happened just yesterday in the Cup Series. That 43, Bubba Wallace was able to get 8th, and in a kind of a crazy race. And Doug Roth trying to ride that up into 13th now. Now he's got his sights set on Thomas George.
He does. Well, he almost went back up the track, though. He went into that turn, and that's where we was talking about that push feeling. As he went into that turn, that car actually just wanted to just climb back up the track. Got to be very careful and mindful when you're on the inside of someone, because you can get up there, not meaning to, but end up dooring somebody in the middle of the turn.
Yeah, and that's something that I especially think about with turns 1 and 2 here. If you get a little bit too low, there's a bump right in the middle of the corner where your splitter hits that. It sends you straight up the track, and it's a horribly helpless feeling. But these guys kind of, the apron not too friendly in 3 and 4 either, though. I see a lot of these guys kind of wiggling around as they get kind of rotating looser and looser as they hug that bottom. As they're looking 3 wide almost entering turn 1 here. The 34 is Sean Bounty trying to make a move on Roth. Was looking in his mirror, saw Malik Ray behind him trying to make some room too. Roth able to clear both out of that 3 wide, holds on to 13th, but Malik Ray, who started outside the top 20 now, is up to 14th.
Man, I tell you what, 3 wide right there. It'll work a couple times, but you want to be very, very, very careful, especially going into the turn. Like we was talking about, these cars are on the edge here just a little bit. So right now, Sean Bounty, he's on the move. He's on the outside of the 22 machine there of Nelson Rivera. As Nelson is looking good in that 22 machine to 9, and Bobby Wetzel right there behind him.
Yeah, Bobby Wetzel looking for a good run in this one. Qualified in the top 15 in that nice looking Steve Park Pennzoil machine. Just trying to get that nose underneath the 34 Bounty. Rivera also worst qualifying effort that we're used to seeing out of that 22 car. And Rivera, who started 17th, just got up into the top 15.
He did, made that pass on him right there. Another guy we haven't talked about, here he comes, Malik Ray. We'll start him way back in the back of the field, almost dead last, and he is already up to 12th. He is picking them up and putting them down, and you know, folks, it just seems like week in and week out we talk about him, but that guy's just bad fast. Now, Anthony DeBarro, though, he has moved out to 1.4 seconds over the second place man, Rick McBride.
Yeah, and you know, that's a comfy feeling to have a big lead, but at the same time, DeBarro's well aware of who's in this race and who's coming through the field, and sometimes as you're kind of taking it easy out front, you're paying attention to guys like Malik Ray, who started in the back and have a lot of speed, because you know what, whether we get a caution or not, that one car is moving through the field at a crazy pace. Already up to 12th on the back bumper of E.J. O'Rourke, the 41. That's for 11th, and he started 29th.
Wow, what a move. I mean, you just can't take anything away from it. So good battle going on here for the 11th place spot as Malik Ray's trying to work over that number 11th place of E.J. O'Rourke, and was talking about Anthony DeBarro out front. Rick McBride, he's out there kind of just in cruise control along with Eric Brundys. He's up there in the 3rd place. Got to actually go back here. Jose Gonzalez, he's still got a full rear view mirror there of this man, Chad Cole. And as I say that, never mind, Chad Cole goes to the inside, going to try to take that spot.
Yeah, Chad Cole gets tied on the bottom, arcs it back down to the white line on exit. Big run on the outside for Jose Gonzalez. Still side by side. Looks like Jose was just going to give up the spot, though, and I think we're going to see that here in 3 and 4 as that 82 machine inches forward. And to correct myself earlier, Chad Cole actually won Martinsville. 2 weeks ago we were at Martinsville, right. And I kind of forgot about that, because Cole has been fantastic on the big tracks, and he wasn't confident about Martinsville, and he ended up getting his win there.
Absolutely, he did. That's what I was thinking the other week. But look at this, the 31 machine. Well, he was up there against the wall just a lap ago, and that's actually Eric Arnold. Now he's on the inside of Jose trying to take that spot away from it, as Chad Cole did take the 5th place here. So right now that low line might work a little bit. You just got to be very careful coming off the turn to keep the momentum going. Hey, what's going on out there, Josh? John, how y'all doing tonight? Good race so far. Anthony DeBarro's leading this one. Just watching this battle here for the 5th, 6th, and 7th spot.
Yeah, and Eric Arnold's qualified in the top 6, and he's been here in this battle trying to make things happen. As the groove has been widening out at a faster pace than I expected for some of these guys. Not everybody, but Chad Cole's running a really high line, especially in 3 and 4 here, and definitely to get himself some great drive off coming onto the front straightaway. And I'm curious about how people are going to latch onto that and maybe follow his lead and run higher and higher. But Cole staying low in 1 and 2 though. But I will see it again here in 3 and 4. It just goes really high to keep his forward drive on exit.
Yeah, and I was just watching some of these speeds. Down the back stretch are hitting about 180. The front stretch is where they're actually, I think, really going to get a lot of speed. As we're going to watch here Jose Gonzalez come off of turn number 4 here and just kind of see, because he's already in the 190 right now, not even hit there. He only hit about 190, 190 something, so a little bit slower than what I would anticipate maybe, but that's still a lot of speed at 190 mile an hour.
Yeah, and something to definitely keep in mind is 16 laps in, we haven't had a caution. They qualified in the mid to high 29 second range. These guys are running mid to high 31s right now, so already 2 seconds of fall off.
Wow. Jonathan Cadell still holding on to the 8th spot right there, along with the 69 of Corbin Hemstreet. He's hanging on to 10. Chad Coleman, that's another one. Keep your eye on him, that number 20 machine. There in 10th place, but now he's got a whole rear view mirror full of the one of Malik Ray, who finally got around E.J. O'Rourke. And I noticed these guys, now they're starting to go climb way, way up the track. I think that's got to be for tires.
Oh, yeah, and it really helps them not spin the tires on exit of these corners. Kind of helps them keep some balance in their cars. Malik Ray underneath the 20 of Coleman, and Coleman was a victim of circumstance when Cadell got sideways early on. And Coleman, with a better qualifying effort this week than in recent weeks, he was well within the top 10. I feel like he's kind of usually been playing from behind in a lot of these recent weeks from about 15th or so. But E.J. O'Rourke sneaks by along the outside and takes the 11th position from Coleman, as E.J. now making a run on the number 1 of Ray. But I don't think Ray is going to hang around for too long. He's moving forward. Yeah,
he actually, I saw E.J. O'Rourke right there. We got a crash. And talking about Jonathan Cadell, unfortunately, that's who just hit the wall and hit it hard. Wow, let's go back on the replay here and see. He just got loose coming out the turn there. And get another angle here. He actually was out there. He was up high a little bit. I seen this earlier on. He'd come out of turn 4. And that thing just shot up the track, bumps the wall, and then nowhere to go, and just lost it from there. And tough break. I mean, like you said earlier on, almost hit something. Oh, and the 22, Nelson Rivera. He hammers him also. Wow.
That's a tough break for Rivera. He was moving forward, and I tell you, sometimes you think you have enough time to stop, but at a track like this, they're coming out of the previous corner at 170 plus, and you can't just get to 0 very quickly, and it is hard to slow these things down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tell you what, new guy out here. Let's bring him down for an interview. I want to see if he makes his pit stop first. Don't want to mess up his timing or anything. But Eric Brundys, I'll bring him down here and I'll let you get a talk in with him. But first, let it get into his pit stall here. I don't have to. You have to keep your concentration up on that. But man, I hate to see that for old Jonathan Cadell and Nelson out there. Both of them just running pretty good. And hey, that's Texas.
It really is. That's Cadell's been having some good runs lately, and we saw a lot of him at Martinsville, and definitely not the race that he was looking for tonight.
No, he wasn't. So watching a pit stop here of this man, Eric, and who's going to win the battle off pit road? Wow, Rick McBride and the 96 machine there. Looks like they're going to do the duel here, battling off pit road. So bring up old Eric here. Harrison, want to get talking with it?
Oh, definitely.
All right.
I'm Eric Brunny. Does he have a copy?
Hey, I got you. How's it going?
All right. It's Harrison Wilets here with OSRN TV, and I kind of a recent addition to the Sim500 series. And one of the things that I was curious about is we see the groove widening out, people running a lot of different lines around this track, and how does the car feel?
It's tight. At least mine is. You know, I haven't really gave it much of a try up high. I just stick low and try not to burn the right front off. But it gets pretty treacherous after about 15 laps on the right rear. But other than that, it's all right.
Are you looking to compete full time in the Sim500 Monday Night Money series?
I don't know right now. I probably won't be here next week, but definitely will be in Richmond in 2 weeks. So we're trying it out for this segment, see how it is, and so far so good.
Oh, we appreciate you joining us here, and I'll let you get back to work down there. And thanks for joining us in the booth. Best of luck to you in this one.
Hey, why aren't you out here?
I don't know. I'm enjoying the view from above, but maybe sometime.
All right. Thanks, Harry.
All right. All right, that's Eric right there, man. He's just having fun out there tonight. Definitely, you know, trying to do what he can actually do out here. Like a good guy, man, here. Well, Rick McBride up front. Mitch Rollo there in second. Anthony DeBarro back in third. And what a pit stop by the 78. Actually, what a pit stop by the 96. Because he took 4 tires and got out before those other guys did, and they had better pit stalls.
Yeah, sometimes the pit stop times are always interesting because, you know, there is some definite variance between pit stop speed. Rhett McBride certainly happy to, you know, we've got some good track position up front here for that 78 and 96. DeBarro having to come from third will be the first time he'll be really dealing with passing cars in this one. It was still a long way to go, and we're pretty early in this one, but it's never the best feeling in the world to lose spots on pit road, that's for sure.
No, it's not, and I looked at his pit stop, 15.9 there for Anthony DeBarro, which, you know, with a 14.1 or 14.1, I mean, it was very close. It was mere inches between the race off pit road between the 78, Rick McBride, Mitch Rollo. Just kind of that better pit stall was the one thing here as we're getting set to go back green flag racing. As under caution for the first time, unfortunately, Jonathan Goodell hitting the wall, and the 22 nowhere to go. Got collected up into that. You know, he hates to see that. Pace cars pulling him out of turn 4. Rick McBride up front. Gonna rack these guys back up. We're at lap 23. Gonna be lap 24 and across the line. Pace cars in. Green flag's about to fly here. There we go. Rick McBride wastes no time putting the hammer down and coming out into turn number 1 here with all these guys just screaming across the line as they're almost 2 and 3 wide in the back.
Yeah, a lot of racing here, especially around Malik Ray. Malik thought about going 3 wide between Brundys and Eric Arnold. Wasn't able to get the, he backed out pretty wisely there. Thought, you know what, I've got a lot of time to go in this one. Malik looking for which way to go. He looks like he's leaning high, but now he goes toward the middle, but there's not a whole lot of room there. They got to be very careful here. He tucks 26 of Jose Gonzalez backed out enough for Malik Ray to get to the bottom, and now Malik scoots by the 94 of Brundys. Now he's underneath the 31 of Eric Arnold.
Well, I tell you what, you want to talk about skill driving right there. Just for a second, I thought that was going to be disastrous as Malik Ray put that bumper right on the back end of Eric Brundys right there, and Jose Gonzalez was on the back end of him. And one mistake, one twitch, and we could have had a huge one here at Texas.
Oh, and thank God for a great net code there, because I swear I was just waiting for the contact in a few of those moments, but it never came. And so they came out of there unscathed. Meanwhile, they kind of all got single file here in the top 10, at least for now. Malik Ray up to 5th from 29th starting spot. In front of him, Mitch Rollo and Chad Cole's up to 3rd. Rhett McBride still up front, but DeBarro is closing in just kind of inch by inch.
Yes, he is. Battle right now, though. Chad Coleman, he's under fire by Eric Brundys right there, is up underneath him. Chad Cole caught that apron. Another thing we have to keep in mind as they'll go door to door heading into turn number 1. That's actually going to be for the 8th and 9th place spot right there. Looks like Eric might be able to take that spot as he gets the momentum coming out of the turn. And you're right, Anthony DeBarro. Well, look at those cars get awful wiggly. That Eric got wiggly as he made the pass.
Yeah, we saw Chad darted down the track just to kind of just in case anything happened to that 94. He wanted to be in a safe place. And Nick Timms did kind of the same thing as they were coming out of turn 2. But the 51 Nick Timms, he started 21st, so it's a march forward for him. We mentioned in qualifying that he had slowed from practice, so it was just not the qualifying effort that he was looking for. Had more speed in the car than shown in qualifying, but they got that all sorted out. Chad Coleman, who qualified in 7th, has been trying to get back there ever since the contact early on in this one between Cadell and another driver, but up to 9th, so he's marching forward.
Absolutely. It's 9 times himself, Nick Timms, right there in the 10th place spot. So looking good. He's got Doug Roth closing in on him. You know, one thing we haven't really talked about, this place being a momentum style track. You lose your momentum, you lose a lot of time here. As we go back up front, Anthony DeBarro is slowly but surely running down that 78, but he's bringing the 96 of Mitch Rollo along with him, so they're all nose to tail coming across the line to complete lap 29. It's lap 30 here, and we're a couple away from actually being 100 to go.
Yeah, and Rhett McBride has held this lead ever since the restart. And while he hasn't led that many laps this season, he has had a lot of speed and qualified this one in 2nd. And so DeBarro, you know, even though DeBarro was able to extend about a 2.5 lead early on, and as he's creeping right up to the back bumper here of that 78 machine through 3 and 4, it's not going to be very easy to pass him because at best, he might have a 1/10 of a second advantage, and you don't have that much of an advantage when you're following right in his tracks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Was right along here with Anthony DeBarro to see if he can't get a run coming off the turn. He can get closing up, and he's going to actually peak on the insides ahead into turn 3. Let's see if actually old Rick McBride gives him enough room on that outside to make that pass, and it looks like he's going to, as they'll go door to door. Coming out of turn 4 is going to be a drag race to the line. DeBarro's going to have it that time as they head off in the 1. I think he's got the momentum to shoot around him here as they head into 1 out of 2, and he does. He's going to put that thing to the lead.
Yeah, DeBarro still trying to get completely clear, though. That 78 is hanging strong on the outside. We saw Rollo go deep into turn 1. Rollo going YOLO. Meanwhile, Malik Ray goes to the bottom of the 96 machine. Malik trying to climb up here, and you know, you have to wonder. We saw DeBarro pull that huge lead. How much speed does Malik Ray have in open track?
Boy, I tell you what, we're about to find out right now if he can get up there, and I think that's what he wants, is to get up there and try it. Malik Ray's pushing the hammer down. Mitch Rollo's thinking about 3 wide. These guys are door to doors. They storm out of the turn 2 down the back stretch here. Rick McBride high, Malik Ray down low, Mitch Rollo up the high. Anthony DeBarro's loving every minute of it as they're in 3 right now. Boy, here comes Malik in that number 1 machine. If you're not jumping up and down for that man, well, might want to start doing it.
Yeah, that JDR graphics machine's been looking good out there. Rollo gets underneath the 78 of Rhett McBride. McBride's been kind of struggling exit of turn 2 here. Seems like that's where he's maybe the worst spot on the track for him, but he gets a good exit there. Big run on the outside of the 96 of Rollo. Rollo not able to clear him yet, but on the bottom of 3 and 4 is exactly where you want to be.
Absolutely. Mitch Rollo, he's going to stay door to door with him, and they come out of turn 4. McBride right up high. It's going to be a race to the line. Can't quite get that momentum coming off the turn, but the high line prevails. So you got Rick McBride in 3rd. Now Malik Ray, here's the thing. He's been able to get up there. It's going to be curious whether or not he can run down the top man and get around him. It's one thing of catching. It's another of passing.
Yeah, and with track position being so important, I think DeBarro is going to try hard to keep that top spot and pace himself to be there, because he knows if Malik Ray gets out front, it's not going to be an easy pass to make. It's better to kind of look in your rearview mirror and pace yourself based on who's behind you rather than who's in front of you. And
You know,
both of these drivers good at tire management.
oh yeah, you're right. Sorry about the hair. But hey, you know, don't blink. We got another guy on the move. That's the man right there in the 5th place spot, the 82 with Chad Cole. Couple weeks winner at Martinsville, like you said, there in that Transervice machine. Title sponsor here, the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series. And it is presented by Transervice Logistics here tonight, the Cup Cars. He's back there looking to maybe try to get up there in that 3rd place spot.
Yeah, and he's running that high groove, and Rolo, these last few laps, has been running higher and higher. And I think he sees the guys in front of him, and he wants to do something different for the most part. McBride, again, coming out of turn 2, loses that momentum down the back. The 96 of Rolo shoots to the outside of him, but look at McBride running way high in 3 and 4. Rolo decides to cross him over to the bottom, gets alongside on the exit of turn 3, or exit of turn 4. He's going to have him cleared before they get to turn 1. Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you, Mitch Rolo on the move right now, trying to make that thing as wide as he possibly can, and hold on to that spot as Rick McBride's there, and you've got Chad Cole. Well, Rick McBride almost went up into the wall. That's what I was talking about, that turn 2, coming out of that turn. It might be a little loose, but sometimes you can get that push feeling, and it'll just knock you. But go back in this field back here. Mike Kelly, that's another one, has moved up through the field in 11th. As you look through here, I mean, we got some, they're about spread out a little bit. It's got little clusters of cars kind of battling it out.
Mike Kelly was one of those guys who I was a little worried for, because starting in 32nd in this one, a lot of times you get that big wreck in the middle of the pack at Texas before things string out. We haven't gotten that. And so Mike Kelly, just methodically working his way forward, has already gained 21 spots. And so right now he's in the running for that hard charger award if it weren't for Malik Ray, who actually qualified or started ahead of Mike Kelly, but has gained a few more spots than he has. But Kelly, I feel like he's going to be in the top 5 here within 20 laps.
Absolutely. So looking good in that number 2 machine there as he's trying to work over Nick Timms, and E.J. O'Rourke's right behind him. Another one, Doug Roth, right there in the 43. See if we can't go on back here in the field just a little bit. Kind of get some of these guys back here. Brian Boris Cook, another one back there. He's back in the 26th position. Everybody seems to be spread out pretty good right now. I mean, except for the top guys right now. They're all like nose to tail. But going back through this field, a lot of these guys are kind of just spread out amongst themselves.
Yeah, and I think part of it is we've definitely hit that spot where Eric Rundy's mentioned about, which is he was saying that it felt real tight for him, and then it just starts skating around on the right rear. And that really puts you in a spot. It's almost survival mode. You know that if you make the wrong move, it could just fishtail right into the infield or back yourself into the wall. And so these guys are racing with a lot of awareness here, trying to keep their cars intact, in one piece. And that could have a real effect here on the type of racing we're seeing.
Well, the 22 machine, he's out there and he's got no hood.
It's like a modified.
Yeah, there you go. He's got him a modified here in Texas. Trying to look back here too. Old Brian Wortman not having too bad of a night. Started out there, I think almost about dead last, and he's moved up to the 30th position already. So not a bad night for him there. Scott Stencil. Scott Stencil's a guy we hadn't really talked much about. Now he's got some damage on the nose. I don't know if he got that maybe at the beginning of the race when they had that checkup, because I noticed another gentleman out there, and I'd have to find him, had some damage on the back earlier on before our caution. So he's not had the season that he has wanted. Now I don't know if it's maybe a case of trying to figure out this cup machine or what.
Oh yeah, and I just went back and saw, yeah, exactly right. The big checkup on lap 1, that's where Stenzel's front end got all messed up, and that was from the situation where Cadell was colliding with Eric Arnold, where Eric Arnold came down the track. A lot of cars had to slow down, and Stenzel's front end got all messed up there. And that's not the best feeling in the world when you have that kind of damage early on. And he's driving his heart out to run 29th right now because it just does not have the speed in that car.
Right there on the tail end of Joey Katina, got that Sim500 machine as he moves up on the back end there. So those guys in the back, hey, that just goes to show you how important points are. These guys, they're like, a lot of people are like, well, why in the world would just want to just ride around out there? Hey, points are valuable. You never know coming out of here what's going to happen. A big field like this, as hard as those guys are running up front, they could get in contact. Next day you know, you have one of them Talladega Daytona big pileups.
Yeah, sometimes you gain a lot of spots just by not being a part of it. And another thing too is simply, for the most part, everyone's going to have a bad race. You want to be the guy whose bad race was a little bit better than the other guy's bad race.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Good battle going on here for the 13th, 14th spot. You got Doug Roth and Corbin Hemstreet. There's probably one of the best battles right now happening as they're going to go side by side. That is a nice, I got to compliment the 43, Doug Roth. That is a very nice paint job, that STP. Whoever painted that, I got some talent on replicating that thing.
You know what? That's Douglas Wyatt, Hippie's Paint Shop, which, a little trivia, he actually sponsored me for a while. I ran some Hippie's Paint Shop cars. Okay.
Wow. All right, well, I'm going to tell you what, Hippie definitely knows how to paint.
Yeah, I definitely like it. He thinks outside the box. He comes up with some interesting combinations, interesting colors, and he also does a lot of replicas. And Doug Roth, I mean, Doug Roth is having a run right now. Not the greatest season for that 43 machine, but this is a big step in the right direction. He's running better than he qualified, and he's been in this mix right outside the top 10 all night.
You know what? Nothing wrong with running good and looking good, doing it too, because he's definitely doing both of them tonight. As hopefully maybe tonight's his turnaround for the season, as he's currently right there in the 13th place spot, and he's looking to maybe gain more as he moves up on Corbin Hemstreet, as Corbin moves up on Nick Timms up there, who is still in the 11th place spot. Well, up front though, Anthony DeBarro's got about 8/10 over Malik Ray. Malik came through the field like a wild bandit, but has not been able to do anything with a silver bullet man out front.
Yeah, and it's almost like a poker game in a way with tire wear, where you're not sure, is anyone bluffing here, you know? How much is Malik Ray saving, if at all? Sometimes someone will have such a good reputation that you can't imagine that they're getting beat. But DeBarro has stretched the lead out a little bit. I saw Malik running higher in 3 and 4, then 1 and 2. Or I'm sorry, then DeBarro, and in 1 and 2 they're running toward the bottom. But Malik, I mean, that's a pretty significant lead right now for DeBarro. Absolutely,
and running very, very good. Another guy that's having a very good night here, who hadn't really talked a lot this season, Eric Arnold. He is still up there in the 6th spot. Had a very good qualifying run. Right now he's maintaining that 6th place, along with Jose Gonzalez there. You know, Eric Brundy's.
The yellow flag is out.
The yellow flag is out. I don't know if you see what that is. Oh, the 8 of Kevin Pearson spinning on the backstretch.
Yeah, Kevin Pearson went around. Looks like.
Wow. Yeah, he just lost it. Now, there's the one that he's the one that got caught up with Scott Stencil. Or is it Steve Stencil? Scott Stencil, my bad. Earlier, you can see his back end's missing on that car. There's the one I saw earlier on. But, yeah, there just goes to show you, Harrison, coming out of turn 2. He lost it, and luckily nobody else involved in that one.
Yeah, Pearson, when he exited, he was just trying to give room to Stencil, and he had a little bit more wheel into it, and as he's trying to put the power down on these powerful Cup cars, it just got loose on the throttle, and you would think that it's hard to spin these things out when you're kind of far, like you're past the exit at that point, but trying to get the power down. It's really easy to lose traction there.
Absolutely. You know what? Since I got the power to move everybody now, finally in here, so we're going to move the man up here himself. I know he's not having the race. Actually, I'm going to make sure he doesn't come on pit road first, as I don't like messing him up on the pit road. Let him get through his pit road. But I'm going to bring up Joey Catini and get a talk in with him here. Hey, spread the love around, the whole track. Some guys, they struggle, some don't. Some just, certain tracks are better than others, as we're watching his pit stop here.
Yeah, and I don't know if his paint scheme is inspired by the Gray Ghost, but it's making me think of it. I really like that car.
Oh, I'll ask him out here. So the Gray Ghost, well, actually, he's got the Sim500 on it there, but, You know, and that's where we're at here tonight. Texas Motor Speedway, folks, with the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series presented by Transervice here tonight. As Joey Catina's making his pit stop. We're just waiting for him to get through his pit stop. Don't want to knock his concentration off or anything like that, because we know how well that is. And we'll bring him up here and get a talking with him. Joey Catina's Joey in the booth. Got a copy?
Hey, buddy.
Well, I tell you what, maybe not the night you would want, but how is that car? And, you know, Harrison and me was up here talking, and Harrison brought up a good point. Is that paint scheme on that thing, is that inspired by the, what'd you say, the Gray Ghost?
Yeah, exactly, the Gray Ghost.
Yeah, that and then Red McBride. So Red drove a car years ago that I always loved, and Casey Duncan threw some Sim500 colors on it, so... Wish I would have got him to use the faster paint, but we couldn't afford it, I guess.
Well, how's the track, man, and how you feeling out there right now?
I'm miserable. I can't figure this thing out. I don't know, just sliding all over the place, just trying to stay out of trouble. Haven't finished many races lately, so I'm just riding.
Well, I tell you what, you know, you're the main guy here, one of them here for the Sim500. And, you know, we don't get you up here to talk to you often. Now I'm able to get everybody up here that I can. And let us, you know, tell us a little bit about how, are you happy with how the season is going for the Sim500 League in general?
Yeah, let's definitely not talk about my year. But for the league, yeah, I mean, we're, you know, this is the first time I've been a part of a league that we were able to have 2 broadcasted series, you know, with you guys, OSRN. So that was a feat in itself. We sold out of slots, and we still have people wanting in. So, you know, basically in sim racing, a lot of the guys that are in here, we've been racing together for, you know, 12, 15 years. So it just shows you the camaraderie, the friendship. That's what Sim500 is. I mean, we didn't invent Sim500. It was a vision back in the NASCAR 2003 days. We just resurrected it back in those days. This was the league, and they had more vision than anybody as far as putting a league together. We kind of took that over to another league, made it work there, and you know, like I said, then we decided to open up Sim500 again. We've been open for about a year and a few months. So yeah, I'm extremely proud of everything that Chad and Joe Hudson and Casey Duncan and Jose Gonzalez, Bobby Terrell, Chris Caboo, everybody. That just helps us week in, week out, make this thing work.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I got to ask real quick before we go back green, though. Think you're going to turn your season around tonight?
I think I'm going to wind up in the booth. That's how I feel about my season.
Come on now. Well, you're looking good while you're out there running. So good luck out there, Joey.
Thank y'all, guys.
All right. I'll tell you what, that's Joey Catina right there. You know, yeah, not having the season and the run that he would like. But you know what? You can tell in the voice, having fun and very proud of what the success here of the league as we get set to go back green flag. Harrison, that really means a lot there.
Oh, it absolutely does. It's grown and grown, and in this one, only 2 cautions so far, 55 laps in.
Absolutely. As the pace car's pulling them around here out of turn 4. We're about to set to go back green flag racing, and the man up front, Malik Ray. Wow, now we're going to see whether or not what he's got out there, and he puts the hammer down and wastes no time screaming across the line as they head off into turn 1. He jumps out front. Anthony DeBarro gets ahead of Mitch Rollo. We're going to see, though, now what the 5 machine has for that 1.
Yeah, it's a whole different perspective for that 5 machine now that he's got to watch from his windshield what the 1 is doing. But we'll see how they manage the tires this run. You have to figure that with 2 long runs to start this race, they have to feel like that there's going to be more of that. Even if the tension picks up and cautions pick up, we're still pretty early in this one, coming up on halfway. I don't think we're there quite yet to where if that happens, it's going to.
You're absolutely right. Only had 2 cautions here so far tonight. Not bad for a treacherous track like Texas. Big field and big power. Right now, these guys mixing it up. Chad Cole's on the move. He's on the inside to 31, Eric Arnold. That's another guy, very consistent. Keep your eye out for him. He definitely loves running up front right now. He's coming out of turn 4. Can't quite get that position on the 31, but they move in on the 96 of Mitch Rollo.
Yeah, and Rollo's been up in the mix this entire race. had a lot of Chad Cole in his mirror there coming through 1 and 2, though. The 82 working alongside the 31 of Arnold. Chad Cole gets clear of Arnold and trying to, just wasn't quite there on the 96, but I love these wide grooves on this racetrack. Eric Arnold's way up against the wall coming through 3 and 4 right there.
Yeah, he did. Boy, Eric right up there almost went into the grandstand there a little bit as he got way, way high in the turn. Right now, you wanted to see what Malik Ray could do there, Harrison, and he is doing it out front, walking away. I got a feeling whoever gets out front is the one that's going to maybe walk away with this one. I don't want to say, 100%, but I think track position might play a very key feature here.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if they're going to kind of get what they can for the first 10 laps of a run, because it seems like 10 laps into a run, they've fallen off at least a second and a half at that point. And so you have to figure that the right rear tire really comes into play there. And so building a bit of a cushion when that happens and avoiding the right rear from being as worn as it could be are all the things that are going through these drivers' minds.
Oh, Eric Brundy's, wow, saved that machine. I'm going to tell you, Rick McBride went low to try to avoid it, chase his car down there. They went 3 wide. There was a little contact. Let's go back on the replay here and show. But he held on to it, barely grazing the wall up there. That actually looked like Corbin Hemstreet. Yeah, Rick McBride came off the turn, almost bumped the wall. 3 wide, yeah, contact between the 30, I think that was Corbin Hemstreet there, a 69. Boy, Eric did a wonderful job of holding on to that machine and not just taking out a lot of cars and taking himself out.
Yeah, it was really a fantastic save. And Brundy's there was just expecting the 69 of Hemstreet to cut to the bottom sooner. Obviously, they had just come around a car that was saving his car, and but when you're in Hemstreet's position, a lot of times you don't want to cut down too early. You're not 100% sure if you're clear. You're kind of playing it safe. And so Hemstreet went in there kind of thinking of it as a 3-wide situation. Brundy's thought that Hemstreet could have run lower, and so it's just kind of one of those miscommunication deals.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time. Just hate to see that. Rick McBride checking up right there. Kind of maybe check those guys up just a little bit. So I always chalk those things up. Like I say, racing is, everything happens so quick here. That's another thing. You just got to be on your toes constantly. So I'm kind of looking in the back here. Sean Bounty back in 19th along with Michael Prester. I hope I said that right. Is it Prester or Prister?
I've had it happen to Priester, but I'm not even sure if that's accurate.
You're probably closer than I am. You sound a little more, and I mean this in the best way, and I probably make my own self sound, but you sound a little more educated on the wording than I do.
Well, I appreciate that, but I have been wrong a lot.
Yeah, I get wrong all the time. So, but hey, that's the fun of it. That's why we ask these guys. But Michael right now, not too bad. It's back in 20th position. Sean Bounty won one of the dual races back in Daytona. And talk about plate racing. We got Talladega coming up the next several weeks or so. That's another thing he's probably going to be looking at. That's one of them wild card style races. Brian Boris Cook right there in the mix of them. You got a lot of guys in a pack back here in the back.
Yeah, and Priester has started 33rd, drove up to 20th, and there's still 31 on the lead lap. And so the 64 car has been moving forward. Right now on the bottom with the 42 of Joe Hudson above him. I like those Dr. Pepper colors on Joe Hudson's car. That's a really nice looking machine.
Let me see where he's at and get a close up. Yeah, absolutely. That's another paint job out there. It looks really good. And as far as what those guys are looking, but you talk about the guys that we've only got 2 machines out of the race. Mike Montesi, I believe it is, and Jonathan Cadell, both out of the race. But we've only got 3 cars that are several laps down. That would actually be Timothy Johnston, Casey Campbell, and Nelson Rivera are all 4, 9, and 16 laps down. So with that said, 31 machines, like you said, on the lead lap. That just goes to show you the competition level here and how valuable it is maybe for like the qualifying and just how tough it is to get through the field.
Yeah, a great example of that is, Tim Johnston who's back there running 4 laps down, as you mentioned. He qualified 13th, which is not a bad effort. But in that checkup, when Cadell and Eric Arnold got together, he got a lot of damage, was sent to the outside wall, got hit a couple of times. And Johnston just hasn't been able to recover because the car won't allow him to. It's just so damaged that it has no speed in it. And he's hanging around right now in 32nd, just trying to get every point that he can. But the tiniest thing is the difference between, you know, running top 10 and running 30th in this league.
Absolutely. Right now, got Thomas George back here in 17th, along with Brian Boris Cook and Chris Gibbs back there. Glenn Campbell in the mixed. Stefan Marinac, now he's made a move too. He actually started way back, I believe it was what? Oh, well, actually I can tell here in just a second. Bring up a little driver thing. Actually started 30th. He's up to 13th.
Yeah, and already a winner this year, Marinac, and that really seems to be the thing that he likes to do. He likes coming from the back, and he has gained a lot of spots so far in this one. And he's been a bit more, it's been a slower climb than, say, a Malik Ray, who has a half-second lead on the field right now. But Marinac, you know, always a factor. I always think about him and the championship battles I've seen him have with Bobby Terrell in other series. And Terrell, of course, a driver in this series. And Marinac, kind of a dark horse, kind of a quiet guy who rises to the challenge and gets himself up front.
And right now he's trying to get up front there as he is looking at those guys in front of him battle it out. Doug Roth, Jose Gonzalez, Rick McBride, those guys was almost 3 wide there, just kind of hammering on each other. Now they've got separated, but here comes that 15 up high on the outside of the 43 of Doug Roth. He's going to take another position, and that's for the 12th spot. So he's on the move right now.
Yeah, and I think Mike Kelly, who's behind him, trying to do the same thing. Kelly working along the outside of Roth as well. Roth, we previously saw him running 13th.
He just blinked out. Stefan did.
I was wondering if it was an issue on my end, but yeah, he was not even scored that lap. So Marinac, connection issue, is going to drop him right out of the lead lap.
Yes, it is. I mean, sorry about that, Harrison, but I just noticed it as soon as he made that pass to 12th. Wham, he's gone, and yeah, he just left. TeamSpeak, drop, connect. I'm gonna tell you, folks, I gotta say it. You know, we're in a virtual world. If things happen, I've even have it happen here on the broadcast side. You know, Mother Nature, internet, and all that. It's just something that you deal with. It's unfortunate, and just like that right there, man was moving to the front in 12th, and then a connection problem, pretty much takes him out of the race, and it's just one of them lonely feelings, and it's really just nothing that you can do.
Yeah, deep into this one too. It's just kind of the mechanical failure that you worry about here in sim racing, and although a lot of times it kind of looks like a UFO just swooped in and took him right out of the track.
Yeah, and we hate to see it. I mean, because it's kind of just one of them. And hey, I've been a driver, been in that situation, and you're sitting there going, really, wow. And even a broadcaster here, and I've had races that I've had issues in the middle of streams. So it happens. Just an unfortunate there, and I mean, but hey, nonetheless, he had a fast car, past winner, like you said, was coming through the field, so he can still build on that. Coming back next week here, maybe if he can get back in here, maybe get some positions, because as of right now, he's back in 31st, and we still got 30 machines on the lead lap. Anything can happen. We're on that lap 75 or 134, and and I know, Harrison, tensions kind of build up as the race gets to the end.
Yeah, sometimes attrition really starts playing a huger role. And up front, by the way, Anthony DeBarro just quietly snuck up to Malik Ray and was able to get the lead. And so that 5-car DeBarro on the pole. And by the way, his practice and qualifying laps were considerably faster than the people than every other driver in this race. That 5 has some serious speed tonight. He's doing a good job out there, and he's back in the lead.
And can he put it all together? I know he was fast like the other week or so at one of these 1.5-mile tracks, just couldn't put it all together, messed up towards the end there. So Going to see if he can seal the deal, so to speak. He's looking very, very good out here right now. But old Malik Ray was out front. Now, you know, you wanted to see it. I think it's a case of Malik went out there and ran the tires off of it. Maybe, again, like what you were talking about, Harrison, just to see what he could actually come up with. Okay, now I know what my car will do if I run it to death. Let me see what it'll do once I kind of ease off of it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of note-taking. Sometimes you think you're even saving tires and you're not, and it's just the littlest things that can really take the handling out of it. Sometimes you think you're going easy. Sometimes when you're going easier on your right front tire, you're putting more on the right rear, and it ends up making you looser the longer you go. And so it's a balance that really changes. It's really hard to figure out because it changes for every track, every weather condition. Depending on how many cars are in the race, everything's a factor.
Absolutely. Got another guy here I want to mention, Scott Simley. I call him Smiley. He is definitely smiling. Started 31st position right now. He is currently sitting in the 7th place spot. Slowly but surely has moved up to the front. That is that's a hefty move to the front.
Yeah, Simley. I mean, I can't help but feel like he's just one of these guys who kind of takes the cab to Uptown and goes right to the front. I mean, he's always starting without a qualifying lap. He elects to start in the back and almost always gets into the top 10.
Well, very good run for him right now. Like you said, he's up in the 7th place spot. Nick Tim's right there in 8th. Eric Arnold's trying to work over Chad Coleman with a 5th and 6th place spot. As back here, we've got a good battle going on here for the 15th, 16th, 17th place. You actually got Brian Boris Cook, E.J. O'Rourke, the 9 machine of Bobby Wetzel in the mix back there along with Scott Stencil. So all those guys are actually battling. And Brian Boris Cook, well, he's missing the whole nose of that machine.
Yeah, and that's just, look at the way that, you know, the race has really changed. We saw Stenzel before. It looked like his car didn't even have enough speed to run inside the top 25. He was about 28th, 29th. And he's climbing forward here. I'm already up to 18th, sticking with it. A lot of damage on that front end. Cook, I didn't see where Cook's damage came from, but he is really torn up too. And right now, the last time by shown in 17th, I believe.
Oh, just hit the wall too, and he held on to Scott Stencil. That's not what he wanted to see. He's already bumped somebody in the rear, but yeah, Brian Boris Cook went up there, bounced off the wall just a little bit. It's going to let Scott get around him and move up to the 17th spot. Yeah, I'm not sure where Brian actually got that, but boy, right behind them, Sean Bounty and company, they're back there tagging each other coming through the trioval.
Sometimes the hardest racing that you'll see is in the middle, the exact middle of the pack. There's just hard racing here, just a lot of contact.
Every position valuable. A lot of people go, well, why they race so hard back there? Hey, that is points, and points are very, very valuable to get. You want as many as you can, and positions mean everything here. You know, so that's another thing to look at. Sean Bounty, Joey Katina. You know, unfortunately, Eric Brundy's, you know, he's not been able to bounce back. He's back there in the 20th position. Chris gets, and Joey goes up into the wall and scrapes it just a little bit.
Yeah, and you really see these guys running higher and higher, and I don't know that I've ever seen such a high groove in 1 and 2, but so many cars have ended up there. 3 and 4, it seems more obvious to me, but 1 and 2, I would still expect like a huge arc and more toward the bottom on exit, but these guys are right up against the wall all the way around for about half the field.
Yeah, well, that turn 2, I spoke about it before the race, and when I raced here, you can actually take that turn, like you said, coming out as an arc. But it'll either get you loose, but sometimes it'll get you loose, like actually the monster machine right there just did. I believe it's number 10 machine. He actually was way down low. That's actually Chris was way down low. He got loose, but you can also get pushed, and it'll push you coming out and push right into the wall. Hey, what's up, Max? How you doing, man?
Yeah, it'll really get you both ways. Turn 2, and that's one of those things that, you know, as it slides, as you go longer and longer through these long runs, that's exactly where it could get even crazier loose on the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing a lot of guys, though, tagging a wall up there. You see the Dr. Pepper man himself in the 42, Joe Hudson. He went up there and brushed the wall ever so slightly. So these guys are getting very high, maybe getting out of the groove just a little bit. as they're coming around here. We're at lap 86, almost contact between Joe Hudson and him as they came out of the turn. But back up front here, Malik Ray, he's losing a little ground to that man Anthony Navarro up front. And I don't know. I mean, we know they got to make another pit stop here, Harrison. It's just a matter of what do you do? I mean, what is he trying to see what he's got on the long run?
It's a good question because it's so hard to figure out. You never want to give up much time unless you know that you have the tires to make up that time. And so I think DeBarro has simply, at this stage of the run, I would think that DeBarro has just done a better job of keeping that right rear tire exactly where he wants it. But the longer you go, the more you're going to fall off even more. And sometimes those patterns can kind of change once you get 30, 40 laps on the tires. And so it's been interesting to see how it's changed throughout this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, I hear you right there, Rudy, man. Good deal, dude. That is awesome, man. It's always good to see you and all the people out there. Hey, appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been a good race so far here. We're for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series here. And it's presented by Transervice. We're at Texas Motor Speedway in the Cup machines here tonight. Very, very good running that these guys are doing. And that man out front, Anthony DeBarro, he put it on pole. He's got the silver bullet machine looking good. As I think we got a lot of green flags, pit stops about to happen down here.
It really feels like we're coming right up on green flag pit stops, and you have to wonder if some people are going to expect that caution and stay out as long as they can. For instance, Scott Stenzel, I didn't see what happened to him, but he's slow on the apron, crawling back to pit road right now. And that's not what he wanted after he rallied to get back into the top 20 with a severely damaged car. But you know, it's that rolling the dice. Do you think a caution's going to fall? Should you stay out and go for that track position? But if it doesn't work out, you're really, ooh, we have a problem on the backstretch. But it's also on the apron again. Don't think we're going to have a caution. But the Dunkin' Donuts machine at KC Duncan hit the inside wall a ton.
Hate to see that, man, on the number 17. That is another guy that has just not been able to avoid trouble. It seems like every time you turn around, KC Duncan has just got dunked every time he's turned around on the track. Whether he's in the wrong place at the wrong time or an accident happens on his end, it's just one of those deals where he just like, can't catch a break.
Yeah, it's definitely been a recurring theme, which is a shame to see. I like that Duncan car, and I like that I couldn't figure out that, you know, Duncan at first either.
Yeah. Yeah. Hate to see it on his end, but it definitely, yeah, Scott Stenzel, he's a real racer out here. He races in the truck series. I didn't know that at first, so that was my bad. I was actually down there in the team speak with him one day, and I go, who's Scott Stenzel? They all started laughing. I know who Parker Klingerman is, but I didn't know who Scott Stenzel. And now Parker not here tonight, normally he is, and I know he's got a very busy schedule. He's not going to make all the races with us. But hey, we've still got a good one. Can Anthony DeBarro actually pull off his second win of the season tonight? I got a feeling if he keeps up doing what he's doing, he might have it in the bag.
Yeah, I'd tell you, I mean, he's making a convincing argument for just how much better he's been on these really long runs. Just pulling away. Malik Ray is sliding. There's a car stalled down on the bottom of the track. This might be on a caution. It does. It was the 10 machine that was trying to get back going, had wrecked on the back straightaway and was kind of stopped right barely where the group started. I didn't see what happened to him, but kudos to everyone who stayed out. Everyone who pitted is going to have to take a wave around, and one of those drivers who pitted was Eric Arnold, and so he's going to have to come way from the back after running in the top 6 or 7 all night.
Oh, watch the replay there. Just came out of turn 2. It bit him. Got loose. Couldn't hold on to it. Slams the inside wall a little bit there. Not a lot of damage. Looks like he hit the tail end of the car. So hopefully he'll be able to get that thing back out there and running. Front end looks, okay on it. Obviously it might hurt the spoiler a little bit on the back end, but under caution here for let's say the third time here tonight. Not too bad now. Pit strategies. Well, I'll tell you what, everybody's definitely going to come in on this one.
4 tires for all, and it takes away that green flag pit stop strategy because these guys are going to stretch it to the end. Just wouldn't pay to pit it halfway through the final run here with only about 40 to go when they go green.
No doubt. We'll watch Anthony DeBarro bring that number 5 machine down on pit road here for his pit stop here tonight. Got a feeling this probably, well, I'm going to say this should be the last one, but then again, this is pretty far out. They would have to go almost 40 laps. What are you thinking, Harris?
I think if we get the cautions, they're going to pit again, but if it has a green flag feel to it, if we get a quick caution after this restart, they'll all stay out. We could go to the end and they'll be okay. But the big question is, what are they going to do if cautions fall at different times? That could really change things.
It can. Going to definitely mix it up and mess it up here, as Anthony DeBarro did get the jump out front. Then Campbell, he's just going to get him a lap lead out there. Mitch Rollo's going to come out in second. Malik Ray there in third. Chad Cole, well, I tell you, we're going to just have to call him Mr. Consistency over here because, wow, that guy, every time you turn around, is in the top 3, top 4, top 5 of every race in and race out. And now look at it. He's got his old buddy. It's the Chad and Chad show. Chad Coleman behind him.
Yeah, and Chad, you know, it's good to be predictably good, and that's what Chad Cole has been all year. And Chad Coleman, I feel like the biggest thing that has held back Coleman this year has been qualifying effort, because he always seems to race better than he qualifies. Right now being shown in 5th after qualifying 7th, but he had a couple of races this year where he got caught up in stuff in the middle of the pack as he was moving forward. And this was a week where, you know, he didn't have to fight as hard to get where he was going. And it showed because Coleman has won in this league. He's looking to get back into victory lane.
Yeah, and he's sitting in a good spot. Going to be in 5th place right there. So it's definitely something that he can do. Got a lot of fast guys in front of him. Anthony Navarro there, Mitch Rollo, Malik Ray, Chad Cole up there. He's got some guys out. You know, Scott Simley. I like calling him Scott Smiley, but and he's definitely smiling. Man's there in 6th place. Corbin Hemstreet there in 7th. Rick McBride in 8th. Nick Timms, Mr. 9 times himself there in 9th. And E.J. O'Rourke rounds the top 10. You've got you've got some heavy hitters in that top 10 right now.
Yeah, and Hemstreet had a lot of speed earlier, and then I was surprised that when he had fallen outside the top 10, not very far, but I saw him running 12th for a little while, back into the top 10 now. Rollo did a good job of hanging in 3rd for a lot of the previous run, and so I'm curious to see how he's going to approach this run, how much speed he's going to have right out of the gate. But those are 3 guys that communicate with each other, I'm sure, during these races. DeBarro, Rollo, and Hemstreet, all 3 being a Boomtown Sims guys. And I wonder how that, how that kind of works out. Like, you have to think that they're pretty open about their communication, and then it comes down to who can execute the best with the knowledge that they all have.
Well, we haven't really seen either, too. Me personally, and when I used to race, obviously we'd race in teams. We'd all communicate and get together. But when the time came at the end of the race, guess what? Teammates went out the back doors. We're getting set to go back green flag, and I don't know what Malik Ray's doing. He's down on the apron down there. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel.
Yeah, it's like he's sightseeing or something. He's taking the sheep out into the mountains.
Oh, there you go. That's a good one. I like that. His Jeep out in the mountains. He's trying to see if he's going to be the first one to concession stand. Pace cars coming out of turn 4. Takes that hard left turn. Here we go. We're going back green flag racing here at Texas Motor Speedway as it flies. And right now, Anthony DeBarro, he flies, hammers through the gears as all 30-some of these monster machines, they storm across the start-finish line. And turn number 1, it's a battle up front as Mitch Rollo's trying to run them down. But I'm watching this battle here with Scott Simley, Rick McBride, Corbin Hemstreet. But up front, you still got a battle as they're mixing it up in the back, middle, and the front.
Yeah, battles everywhere, and I have a feeling that if Rollo's going to try to get to that lead as soon as he can and just try to hold him off from here, because he knows it's going to be tougher the longer he goes. So Rollo trying to get right with him, but not able to put his nose right there yet. Malik Ray was able to get underneath the 82 or keep himself underneath Chad Cole at the start and move himself into 3rd. But that one machine, We saw him not quite have the long run speed of Anthony DeBarro. How was he going to change this run compared to the last in order to try to get himself into victory lane?
Absolutely. The man, the biggest mover of the race right now, actually Malik Ray, is up in third place, came from 29th, moved it up there. He's all over the back tailgate of that man in the number city, I'll get it right, 96, Mitch Rollo, who is definitely would love to roll up there and take that lead away from Anthony DeBarro, who has just been, well, at the king of the castle right now. And he gave up the lead earlier on to the one of Malik Ray, but then ran him back down and took it back from him.
Yeah, kind of asserting just how great he's got that car hooked up tonight. And while they're all really running the same car, but how great he's doing behind the wheel tonight. Because I tell you, sometimes it's kind of hard to believe it's a fixed setup series, but that's how much driving counts. And we're at a technical 1.5 miler tonight. People are struggling with grip after a few laps on the tires, and these long runs are really showing who's got it on those old tires.
Yeah, it is. Corbin Hemstreet still trying to work over Eric Brundys, who has made a move back up. You know, he almost got in the wall earlier on. Barely tapped it, but he's been on the move back up to 10th place spot. Had a very fast machine earlier on, so now he's up there to that 10th place. Eric is, and the five guys. He's wanting to high-five his way back up there to the front right now as he's going to work over Rick McBride. Everybody seems like they're single file as of right now, except for old Doug Roth, who is on the inside of the 31 of Eric Arnold.
Yeah, and Roth kind of running where we've seen him a lot of today. Eric Arnold, though, has shown a little bit more speed than Doug Roth, able to clear Roth exiting the turn 4 there. And Arnold was one of those guys who was trapped a lap down. He's been coming through the field ever since that caution, where he lost a lot of track position. But look at that speed out of the 31 car. He kept his cool, and he's made up a lot of ground so far.
Ooh, came out of turn right there and just barely brushes the wall. That's how close they are going up there, flirting with disaster. But you're right, Eric Arnold now on the inside of Corbin Hemstreet. They come out of turn 4, going to drag race to the line, and I think the 31's going to get him because he got that momentum. The wiggle by the number 69 of Corbin Hemstreet cost him that position, and that would have been position number 11 right there as Eric Brundys now is the next victim that actually Eric Arnold. So now we got Eric and Chad and Chad. Harrison, are you confused yet?
I think I'm always a certain level of confused.
Well, I tell you what, it's always good to see, man, these guys out here having fun throughout the whole entire field. I mean, we've still got 26 machines on the lead lap out here as Brian Workman back in the 27th position, the first one a lap down as of right now. But up front, your top 3 guys, I'm watching their lap times. They're all running 30.8s, and Chad Cole's running 30.9. So they are setting some blistering pace, the top 3 is.
Yeah, and you have to figure, too, because they know they're getting toward the end of the race here, I have to believe that they really didn't want to lose track position for the sake of tires at the beginning of this run, and they might be pushing themselves a little bit harder than they really want to run, but they know that they're going to have to in order to win this race. And so how is the car going to change as their right rear tire starts to go away and it really loses a lot of grip? I mean, it could make these guys looser than they've been all race long.
Absolutely. And another thing we're looking here, Mitch Rollo's just not been able to move in on that man up front, Anthony DeBarro. He's got Malik Ray right behind him. Seems like all 3 of those cars are almost dead even here. They're just almost just dead identical. And with that said, here comes the hard part. We're closing in on the final laps. You know the tire wear is going to run out. Your time is running out. And at 5, as long as he can hold his own pace out front, what do you do? What do you do as Mitch and Malik and Chad? You know, what's going through your mind? What can you do to try to close that gap?
I think for a little bit you're thinking about, okay, you know, paying attention to the tire wear and how the tires are going to go. But there definitely comes a point where you start trying harder, you start trying different grooves. And now we have a caution out on the track, so now they're thinking about what kind of strategy are they going to do on pit road. But the number 6 of Jonathan Lockhart went around. Not sure if anyone else was involved. Well, yeah, Lockhart I guess we'll see the replay shortly, but Lockhart hit the wall before turn 1. Sent him right down onto the apron as he skated back onto the track. Jose Gonzalez had nowhere to go and got into the back of him pretty hard.
Yeah, and the 47 just bumps the wall a little bit. That could have actually been worse than what it was. You got several other machines coming around, but you're right. He went up there, came out of the tri-oval right before turn 1, got up a little high, bumped the wall, went down. Jose Gonzalez nowhere to go. Caution out now. That kind of makes a whole different ball game up front here. As you know, these guys, I'm going to say, you got to pit. You got to go in. They've been out there for 14, 15 laps. You got to come in and 4 tires and fuel. And this right here, this is the money stop. Basically, this is what you've worked for all race.
Yeah, and they want to not get on the brakes for their pit stall until the last possible second, but not overshoot it. They know every fraction of a second is going to have an effect on whether they can win this race or not. They want to get everything they can get, but also a big portion of that is pit crew time. The driver can't really help that. And so they do what they can and see what happens from there. But a lot of these drivers in the top 5 look like they did a good job getting into their stalls. Didn't see anyone really overshoot it.
Nope. We was watching Mitch Rollo there as he's completed his pit stop. About a 14.8. Let's see. Anthony DeBarro is going to beat him out. Malik Ray, it looks like he's going to come out in 3rd. Chad Cole and Chad Coleman, now they had to race off pit road. I believe that's going to actually give it to the... Chad Cole's going to get it over. Chad Coleman's going to win that one over Chad Cole.
Yeah, and so this is the highest position Coleman's run all race, and that's at the right time for sure. I think DeBarro's happy to get out of pit road in the lead. I don't have to guess on that one, but that's definitely what he wanted to do coming into this one. Malik Ray going to try to take advantage of anything he can on the restart to make a race out of this one. When we go back green, we're still going to have just over 20 laps to go. And Coleman has been hanging on tires basically throughout the run. And, you know, you give a guy a little bit of track position. I think that 20 car has just joined this race for the front. So actually, that's 2 JDR Graphics cars in the top 4 right now.
Absolutely. And another thing you got to think about, Anthony DeBarro is definitely going to want the restart of his life, but he's going to also want to see Malik Ray and Mitch Rollo battle it out for as long as he can, so he maybe can get a good lead, and that way that they'd have to run him down. The worst thing he wants to see is those guys stay right on his back bumper or somebody get up underneath him and try to battle him. It's definitely going to be an interesting one here as we're getting set to go back green flag. And like you said, it's going to be about 20 laps to go when we go back green. That's pretty much getting close to what I like to say. Yeah, business is picking up. Rung what you brung. It's about go time.
Excuse me. Had to hit the cough button. And one of the things that I'm thinking about for this run is these guys have paid attention to how their right rear tire reacts there on every run. With only 20 laps to go, we know it'll get looser about halfway through that run. Has anyone adjusted how much fuel they put into their car? I wonder if someone's going to give up on the short run to have a lot of grip on the second half of that run, but they have to hope that it stays green for that to really help them out.
You know, that's a good question. Either way, and that's one that we don't know without asking them, and sure enough, that nobody's going to tell us that strategy. But because when you look at the pit stop times, it's pretty much dead even across the board with 4-tire pit stops, you know, 14.6, 14.5s, you know, 14.4s. Definitely within the realm of filling them things up. So good question there. It's going to be interesting to see as we're getting set to go back green flag racing here at Texas Motor Speedway for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series presented by Transervice. Logistic here tonight in the Cup machines. And some bad fast boys about to do some evil bad fast things here on that awesome bad fast track tonight. Harrison, you want to take us to the green?
Oh, sure, absolutely. And on this one, Anthony DeBarro took the outside. His teammate is on the bottom. And I have to wonder if it's a little bit of teammates working together, but that gives Chad Coleman, who just got up to the position number 4, he's going to be able to tuck right up to the back bumper of this 5 car, gives him help to maybe be able to clear Malik Ray on this start. But DeBarro in control. This one, pace car goes in, and they gets on the gas.
Green flag,
5 car
green
jumps
flag.
out in front of the 96 of Rolo. Ray able to stay underneath the 20 car of Coleman, though. And so Malik Ray and that 1 car is going to have a great entry into turn 1 here.
Yes, he is. Anthony DeBarro definitely gets flying high out front. Mitch Rolo there in second, along with Malik Ray sitting in third. Chad Coleman there back in the 4th place spot as laps are winding down here at Texas Motor Speedway, as it's definitely getting a good one. And you know, folks, something we haven't done here. Let's go high and wide on this restart as a battle for second spot. That's right, we're going to take it high to the Blimpy Cam. We call it the Blimpy Cam here at OSR Network. We kind of love it. Gives you a good perspective of the track, gives you a good perspective of just how far apart these guys are. And you actually get a good view here as we're heading around the track. But Harrison, you like Blimpy?
I could go for some Blimpy right now, as a matter of fact.
There you go, Blimpies. It's a good one. You know, it's just Blimpy. And I still, to this day, want to meet the guy that can stay mad and sound angry and say Blimpy.
Well, Blimpy really is one of those fun words. It's nice.
It's a fun, it is. It's just one of the words kind of roll off the tongue, really fun and whatnot. But hey, we call it the Blimpy. It's the Blimpy Cam here, so hope everybody enjoys that. And right now, it's a good race. Now, Malik Ray did what he needed to do up front here, Harrison. Get around Mitch Rolo. But can he run down, and does he have anything for that 5 machine?
Yeah, it's a good question. And, well, if there's anything in his back pocket right now, it might be the knowledge that he doesn't have to save tires very much this run. There's a little bit of that, but he's able to get after it here and try to close that gap. And, you know, it's not going to be the longest run of the race, to say the least. But the 96 of Rolo was looking underneath him there. Backs out before turn 3, just wasn't able to quite get the nose there. But the 1 Ray just not able to get too far ahead of that 96 of Rolo, and the lead for DeBarro right now is about half a second. Grew 300ths that last lap, and so that's it's not the type of lead that you want to have to fight back from.
No, it's not. There's one other thing we can do here too. We haven't done it in a while, and folks, we definitely got it here at this track. And since we're on a restart, I think it's time, and it's time for the speed cam, folks. Let's give it to them. Well, folks, I tell you what, right there, as I always say, if that doesn't get your hair pumped up, man, jumping up and down on your skin, and getting everybody in the house running around in the neighborhood having a party, I don't know what will. And we definitely can show you some golf. But you might want to sit and get in a doctor's appointment tomorrow because, well, hey, you need some more racing medication. So, we're back here at Texas. Harrison, what do you think?
I'm just, I'm impressed with Eddie DeBarro right now because DeBarro has pulled out to 9/10 of a second over Malik Ray, but it's been a fantastic race. Watching the line move up and down this entire track, all the drivers who have come through the field, the racing everywhere that we've seen, and the lack of cautions.
Absolutely. Let's get a quick race summary in here. As Anthony DeBarro is our leader, we've completed 122 laps of 134, 4 lead changes and 4 cautions for 15 laps here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway. As this one's coming to a close, 10 to go for that man in the 5. Does Malik Ray have anything for him, or Mitch Rollo? And I always say, last lap puts an end to it. 5 to go, usually with a caution comes out, that puts an end to it. So we could be running for another 9 laps now, or for another 4. If a caution was to come out, that would be definitely interesting here at this point.
Yeah, in the next lap, in the next couple of laps, we would see some pit strategy should a caution come out. But you know, not too long from now, when we hit that 5 to go, it's a bit of a breath of a sigh of relief for DeBarro. He wants to get to that 5 to go to know that if a caution were to wave, he wouldn't have to worry about whether to pit or not. The race would just be over. And so he's trying as hard as he can to get to the end of this race.
Absolutely. We're at lap 126. You just crossed the line with a 134 here in the books. Getting down to the closing laps. Appreciate everybody tuning in here because we're live Texas Motor Speedway for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series presented by Transervice tonight in the Cup cars here. And they have done it big here at the Texas Longhorn State. There's a darn big state here.
Yeah, maybe everything is bigger in Texas.
Never been close. Actually been in Louisiana, I think it is.
You know what's kind of crazy? The closest I've been to Texas is, I think, North Carolina or Florida.
Where are you from?
New Jersey. So
okay.
Yeah, I've been up and down the East Coast, but you know, I've never really ventured out west. I mean, the farthest west I've been is Ohio.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah, I'm in NC. I've actually been New Jersey, Maine, PA up that way, but I've been down, south way a little bit. But like I say, the closest I've ever been was like Louisiana. So, hey, that's okay. But we're in Texas tonight here running this one, and that man out front, Anthony DeBarro, he's got a 1.1 second lead, and he is not showing any signs of slowing down. He just ran a almost, I'm going to say about 300s faster than Malik Ray that last time.
Yeah, he looks like he's on a road trip of his own. And, I mean, just talk about making it look easy. And this has really been a dominant performance. And in a field like this, it doesn't happen very often. He's had a lot of speed. Well, now he's had a lot of speed in this one every lap of this race. And so this is the type of win you like to put a stamp of approval on. I mean, this is a butt whooping.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, the man sitting in third place there, Mitch Rollo. He's rolling along, and I'm over here eating Jell-O. So there you go. We're two having fun. One up in the booth, one on the track. He just wished he could have a little bit more time and maybe a little more speed in that machine. He could run down that 5. But it's a very good outing for the Boomtown Sim guys of Anthony DeBarro and Mitch Rollo, both right now currently sitting third and first.
Yeah, and I didn't catch what happened to Him Street. Their teammate, the 69 car, has fallen way back to 21st, and I don't know how, but something happened to him, and that's a shame because he's really running the top 10 most of the night. But first and third for those guys, and that's the type of night that they're looking for. Well, in a perfect world, 1, 2, 3, but strong showing.
And another guy we just keep talking about week in and week out, that's Chad Cole. He's got that Transervice machine out there looking good. Currently up in the 4th place spot. he just, you know, slowly but surely keeps that thing, you know, consistent. And he's up there. Another guy who's made some big moves, Scott Simley. Well, right now, though, he's got EJ O'Rourke. EJ O'Rourke right there on his outside as they're going to battle it out for the 5th place spot.
You know, and something that EJ, wow, right on the right rear. He's got to be careful there, though. Oh, I thought he was going to set himself straight up the track. Those two drivers did a fantastic job of not just wrecking right out of the race right there, but slowed them way down. That put the 20 of Chad Coleman right on the back bumper of these guys. 41 of O'Rourke gets a nice run through the center of 3 and 4, comes out of turn 4, just able to clear that 12 of Simley, but Simley's going to still look low here approaching turn 1.
Yeah, it is right there. Boy, there was almost contact between the two. Was no room between those two machines. But look at Scott Simley. He fights back on the inside. EJ O'Rourke pinches him down, coming out of 2. Almost lost it. They're in a dogfight back there with 2 to go. Folks, this is the battle for 5th. As look at Scott Simley again. My powerhouse, that machine on the inside. Chad Coleman is back there just waiting patiently as the final lap, the white flag flies.
Yeah, both these drivers have done a great job of putting themselves in contention for a top 5 finish here. They're battling for that top 5, and make no mistake about it, it means something to these guys. But that 12 machine of Simley drove into turn 1, and it stuck. O'Rourke went for a huge crossover, though, or a huge arc, goes down the track, looks low on the 12. The 12 is going defensive. The 41's going to try to toss it in there, but Simley drives it in. Simley going to slide up maybe just a little bit. O'Rourke trying to get the nose in. But out front, it's all the 5 machine of Anthony DeBarro.
Yeah, it is. Wow, EJ O'Rourke came out of turn 4, ice skating that machine across the line, and he finally ends up just wrecking it. But, man, what a battle. I stayed with the battle for the 5th place, but you're right, Anthony DeBarro had a 1-point-some-odd second lead. That was a huge, huge battle for 5th place there. Scott Simley held on to it. EJ O'Rourke drove that thing off of turn 4 like a madman possessed, and almost lost it. He was just skating it across the line and finally hit the wall. But that man right there in the number 5 machine, he's going to pull it off in dominating fashion here tonight. That would be Anthony DeBarro. Malik Ray's going to come home here in 2nd, along with the man of Mitch Rollo. He's going to bring it up here in 3rd place tonight.
Yeah, and those two Boomtown guys bookending the top 3. That's a solid outing for those guys. Malik Ray thought he might have something for the 5 machine, but what an impressive performance, all Anthony DeBarro tonight.
Absolutely, that 5 machine right there, definitely well deserving of a victory here. And you know, hats off to every one of these guys out here tonight. I'm waiting for old Malik Ray. I know he'll jump up in here, but let's get an interview up here with our 3rd place man, though, Mitch Rollo. Bring him up here and let's get a talk in with him.
And I'm here with the 3rd place finisher, Mitch Rollo. And Mitch, bookending the top 3 between you and your teammate, able to get the victory, and another solid top 3 run for you. And it has to feel good for you guys.
Yeah, it feels real good. Anthony was in a bit of a league of his own there. He was unbelievable all night long. It doesn't matter, short run, long run. You got out front and he stayed there. So we're knocking on the door. We're right there. I just need to find out a little bit more to get in victory lane.
Was there anything you noticed about the way he was approaching this track that you could see where he was finding speed that you just weren't able to match, or was that just kind of just unsure of how he was so fast?
Yeah, that's the way I put it. I'm not sure how the heck he was doing what he was doing. I tried to mirror his line a few times, and I mean, I could do it. I just just didn't seem like I could do it as good as him. So you know, but it was a good team effort. You know, if it wasn't for Anthony, I wouldn't have done nothing today. He taught me all I know about this track for the way this setup is. So big thanks to him.
And coming up, we have a few interesting track combinations. We have Bristol coming up, and Richmond, and Talladega not that long after that. And looking ahead, what are the tracks that you really have circled on your calendar?
Bristol's always a fun one. I like Bristol. I'm just looking forward to the road courses. I love the road courses, but also I like Richmond. So I got some good tracks coming up. we'll see what we can do. Hopefully we can take off our first win here.
Well, it was a great third place run tonight, and we appreciate you joining us up here. And who makes it happen for you guys? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Definitely got to thank everyone at Boomtown Sim there. Without this team, I wouldn't be near what I am. That team helps me a lot, so definitely got to thank them. Got to thank my girlfriend for watching. She's watching right now. And got to thank Transervice Logistics for coming on board this year for the series sponsor. It wouldn't be possible without them, so huge thanks to them.
Thanks for joining us. Congrats again.
Thank you.
All right, that's Mitch Rollo right there. Definitely pulling it off here in the third place tonight. Right down here, and we got our man in second place here tonight, Malik Ray. I'll bring him up here and let's get a talking with him, Harris.
I'm here with Malik Ray, second place finisher tonight. And Malik, we saw you come through the field at a pretty impressive rate, and kind of expected that lead battle to build, and it looked like it was all DeBar tonight though. And looking out your windshield, was there anything where you could see where he was beating you at?
Turn 2. Whenever I ran NIS fixed this week, that's where I was being beat at, was turn 2. My 3 and 4 was fine with everyone else, and then turn 2 is just like I lost the 10th there each time I went there.
Have you ever competed in a race at Texas where the track widened out that much? I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, in NIS fixed earlier this week, I knew that the outside was going to work, but it takes like around lap 60 or 70 for it to actually start to work, where you can start running, and even if you're in the top 5. And I would try it up there, but I would just lose too much ground to Anthony whenever he'd run the bottom.
And heading into next week, we've got a much different racetrack than here at Texas, and we're off to Bristol. We've seen you have some good battles at Bristol with Michael Guess recently in this league in the previous season. And how do you feel heading into that with the Cup car?
Hopefully I'll be just as fast, maybe a hair a little faster. We're going to try to qualify. I'm not going to come from the back next week, so that way I can avoid all the problems and stuff that are going to happen.
Well, it's another great top 2 finish for you, and we appreciate you joining us up here in the booth. And who would you like to thank? Anybody make it happen for you?
Joey for creating this league, and Chad Cole and all the admins, and you and Joe for broadcasting. I really appreciate it. It's nice to go back and look at these races afterwards.
We appreciate that, and thanks for joining us, and congrats again on a P2.
Thanks, man.
All right, man, right there in second place, did a fantastic job. Drove to the field tonight, but just came up, one position off of this man here, Anthony Navarro, in the number 5 machine. We pulled it off. Anthony Navarro, Joe White in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, how you doing? Fine.
Well, I'm doing great, and I know you probably are too, but man, I tell you what, you had a rocket out there tonight. Take us back to how you felt. How was the track? I mean, how was that thing here? What did you learn going through this race?
So this was a good car to pick up the victory slack those first couple stops there. I don't know if it was me getting in the box too easy. I don't know. I just didn't want to slide through it every time the pit stops are slow. But that last one, they had a dang good one. And we were able to get out front. But I was just trying to save the right front, because if you got the right front too hot, it would just snap loose even worse off. So just painting that white line. I saw guys trying to move up, and I knew the bottom is where you wanted to be to take control of the tires, save the right front so it didn't snap.
Well, it worked out for you. I mean, you led a lot of laps here, 103 of the laps here tonight. Started on pole, and you finished it out front here. I mean, definitely now, that's the second win of the season. How's that feel going into our first 12 stages here of the season so far? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm good. I got some consistency stuff I got to work on. With just taking what I get and not just trying to go out there and win every race. Last week I made a mistake on the road. I sped, but we had a good car there too. But yeah, I just want to get more consistent top 5s and top 10. Not having those late race mistakes.
Well, good showing here tonight for the Boomtown Street Sim guys out there. I mean, you and Mitch Rollo putting it in first and third. definitely you pulling it off here tonight at Texas Motor Speedway for the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series, presented by Transervice here in the Cup car. Anthony DeBarro, got anybody out there you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Transervice for making this possible for us to do this. It's pretty fun. We got a good group of guys here, and you guys doing up there in the booth, you do a great job. Keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week. If not, maybe the week after.
Bristol next week. Real quick, what you feeling about it?
Very, very good, but it's going to be super hard to pass. The setup's really tight, and it's just going to be all about qualifying and not making those mistakes. So don't think I've finished many 2 races there, which I mean, most of it's my doing, but sometimes you get caught up in other people's mess. But we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Well, that's Bristol for you there, so we'll see you next week. But tonight, you're the winner, Texas. Again, congratulations, Anthony DeBarro.
Thank you.
All right, well, tell you what, right there, wow, and the man just did a fantastic job. As we get our unofficial results here, as Anthony DeBarro puts it in victory lane. Malik Ray in second, Mitch Rollo there in third, Chad Cole in fourth, Scott Simley up in the fifth, E.J. O'Rourke there in sixth, Chad Coleman in seventh, Eric Arnold finishes up in eighth, Nick Timms up in the ninth place right there, and Eric Brundys, he was able to master back and get to the 10th place spot. Look to the rest of the field. What a race here at Texas, Harrison. I mean, it was we saw guys come through the field. We saw guys have trouble tonight, but we saw one fast silver bullet out there at that 5. You got any final words on this one?
I just enjoyed all the grooves that came in, all the different approaches to running this track tonight, the difficulty of how this car would feel on old tires, and just impressed with that 5 car, making it look incredibly easy tonight.
Absolutely. Sentiments there. Well, I tell you what, for everybody here, the Sim500 Monday Night Money Series presented by Transervice, myself, Joe White, and Harrison up here in the booth. Everyone, appreciate everybody coming out. Everyone, have a